Danny Martinez had worked around farm tires long enough to know that something was wrong before he had even moved the wheel 5 feet. The massive tractor tire was still mounted on its steel rim. It had arrived at his Texas shop with a batch of worn agricultural parts that were being stripped, destroyed, and recycled. The job should have been routine, but when Danny leaned into the wheel and tried to roll it across the concrete floor, it barely moved. He stopped and looked at it again. A wheel this size was always heavy, Danny knew that, but this one felt far heavier than it had any reason to be. His co-worker Jake came over and gave him a hand. Together, they managed to push it upright. Then, something moved inside. A dull thud came from somewhere between the rubber tire and the steel rim. Both men froze. Danny rocked the wheel toward himself. The weight shifted again. Thud. Jake stared at him. "What is inside that thing?" Danny had no answer. But before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. The wheel was supposed to contain little more than airspace around the rim. There should not have been anything heavy enough inside to slide from one side to the other. Danny checked the valve. The tire was already deflated. There was no obvious liquid leaking from it, no visible repair large enough to explain the weight, and nothing unusual attached to the outside. He had seen tires filled with water for ballast before, but this did not feel like liquid. Something solid was moving inside. That was when curiosity turned into suspicion. The dealer who had dropped off the parts only wanted the old tire removed and destroyed. The wheel itself was considered damaged beyond economical repair. Danny had no reason to preserve the rubber, so he and Jake moved the assembly toward the hydraulic equipment used to break the tire away from the rim. Normally, once the bead was released, the tire could be worked free. This one fought them. The first section loosened, but another portion seemed jammed by something pressing from inside. Danny stopped. He could still hear the heavy object shift every time they tilted the wheel. At that point, there was no reason to struggle with the tire intact. It was headed for recycling anyway. Danny positioned the damaged sidewall on the cutter, safely away from the steel rim. The blade pressed into the thick, reinforced rubber. The first cut revealed nothing unusual. He widened the opening. Then the blade stopped against something that did not feel like tire reinforcement. Danny pulled it back. Through the narrow cut, he saw black plastic. He shut the machine off immediately. Jake leaned closer, but Danny told him to stay back. Using a light, Danny looked through the opening. A rectangular bundle had been packed tightly inside the air cavity between the tire and the rim. Then he saw another behind it, and another. The entire wheel appeared to be stuffed with sealed packages. For several seconds, neither man said anything. Danny's first thought was drugs. Texas sits at the center of enormous freight networks connecting ports, highways, farms, warehouses, and the southern border. Danny had seen enough news reports to know that smugglers had hidden narcotics in fuel tanks, dashboards, produce shipments, machinery, and even spare tires. But a giant tractor wheel was something else. One package near the cut had been nicked by the blade. A small tear opened in the wrapping. Danny expected powder. Instead, several hard brown pieces dropped onto the concrete. They were thick, curved, and slightly pointed at one end. At first glance, they looked almost like oversized animal scales. Jake instinctively moved toward one. Danny stopped him. Neither man knew what the material was, and Danny suddenly wanted nothing else touched. He stepped away from the wheel, pulled out his phone, and called 911. Within minutes, the repair job had become a police scene. The first officers photographed the wheel exactly as Danny had left it. They looked through the cut sidewall, saw the tightly wrapped bundles, and initially seemed to arrive at the same conclusion Danny had – drugs. But the torn package complicated everything. There was no powder, no pills, no crystals, only layer after layer of brown, biological-looking scales. The officers did not start opening the remaining bundles. Investigators were called, and the shop was temporarily shut down while the wheel and its contents were documented. From behind the counter, Danny watched package after package come out of a tire that had been sitting among ordinary scrap only hours earlier. Some bundles had been compressed into the curve of the wheel. Others had been shaped to use almost every inch of empty space between the tire and the rim. Whoever packed it had done far more than toss something inside. They had demounted the tire, loaded the cavity, and mounted it again so the wheel looked ordinary from the outside. But nobody at the shop could explain what the brown pieces actually were. Danny had one question: if this was not drugs, what had he found? Photographs were sent to wildlife specialists. A federal wildlife investigator became involved. The first response was cautious. The material strongly resembled scales from a protected mammal, but the identification needed to be confirmed. That answer only made the situation stranger. A mammal with scales? Danny had never heard of such a thing. Then the identification came back: pangolin scales. Danny did not even recognize the word. Pangolins are mammals found in parts of Asia and sub-Saharan Africa. Their bodies are covered in overlapping keratin scales that make them look almost armored. Those same scales have made the animals a major target of illegal wildlife trafficking, particularly for markets where the material is sold for use in traditional medicine. International commercial trade in pangolins is prohibited under the highest level of CITES protection. Danny looked back at the enormous tractor wheel and struggled to connect the two things. An animal living thousands of miles away, a Texas tire shop. How did one lead to the other? That question became the next part of the investigation. The wheel had not originated at Danny's shop. Records showed that it had changed hands several times through the used equipment and salvage trade before reaching him. Investigators began following the paperwork backward. The wheel had arrived in the United States as part of a larger group of used agricultural equipment and components. After arrival, the machinery was moved through yards and dealers, with parts being removed, replaced, or sold separately. Then investigators found the detail that may have explained everything. At one point, the wheel assembly had been marked as damaged and unsuitable for reuse. Instead of staying with the equipment it had arrived with, it was removed and pushed into a scrap stream. From there, it changed hands again. Eventually, a local dealer sent it to Danny's shop to be destroyed. That ordinary decision may have ruined the entire smuggling plan. If someone had expected the wheel to remain attached to a particular machine until it reached a specific buyer, they suddenly had a serious problem. The hiding place had gone somewhere else. The smugglers may not have abandoned valuable contraband on purpose at all. They may simply have lost control of it when an ordinary worker looked at the damaged wheel and decided it belonged in scrap. Danny had received something that was never supposed to reach him, and once investigators understood what was inside, another question became impossible to ignore. If one wheel had been packed this heavily, what about the other wheels that had traveled with the same equipment? Danny never had an answer to that question. What he did learn was that the idea of pangolin scales entering the United States was not theoretical. In a real Oregon case, an undercover federal investigator purchased pangolin scales from a Portland business. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service later confirmed the material was pangolin. And in a separate federal case tied to Seattle, traffickers from the Democratic Republic of the Congo admitted discussing shipments of protected wildlife products into the United States, including a proposed shipment involving roughly 1 ton of pangolin scales. For Danny, those cases changed the way he understood what had landed in his shop. When the first black package appeared, he thought he had discovered an unusual drug smuggling trick. Instead, he had stumbled into a global wildlife trade involving an animal he had never even heard of. And the wheel itself was the reason the scheme fell apart. The people who packed it had chosen a hiding place designed to survive dirt, ports, freight yards, farms, and thousands of miles of transport. A giant agricultural wheel looked too ordinary, too dirty, and too inconvenient for anyone to bother opening without a reason. What they could not account for was the wheel being removed from its original equipment and sent to the one place where somebody was going to cut it apart. The police eventually cleared Danny's shop. The damaged wheel and its contents were taken as evidence. The equipment went back to running, but Danny never looked at a heavy tire the same way again. That morning, he thought he was destroying a worthless piece of farm equipment. Instead, he found dozens of sealed packages hidden inside it. He thought they contained drugs. The police did not immediately know what they contained either. Only after wildlife specialists became involved did the real scale of the discovery become clear. Somebody had gone to enormous effort to hide those packages inside a tractor wheel and move them through a supply chain where almost nobody would think to look. The plan failed for one simple reason. The wheel was heavier than it should have been, and Danny Martinez noticed.